For 80 years, aviation historians have argued one question above all others. Which fighter of the Second World War was truly the fastest? The war pushed piston-engine design to its absolute limit. Every mile per hour gained meant the chance to climb higher, strike first, and perhaps come home alive. Tonight, we count down the 10 fastest fighters that actually fought, using verified wartime test data. Not paper projects, but machines that roared into combat. Number 10. Messerschmitt Bf 109K4, Germany, 440 miles per hour. In late 1944, the Luftwaffe's most famous fighter reached its final, most lethal form. The Bf 109K4 combined the time-tested airframe of the 109 with the new Daimler-Benz DB605D engine, boosted by methanol water injection. At altitude, it could reach 440 miles per hour, making it the fastest of all 109 variants. But by the time it appeared, Germany's skies were filled with American Mustangs and Thunderbolts. Veteran pilots praised its climb and acceleration, yet fuel shortages and inexperienced replacements meant few could exploit its full potential. The K4 was a symbol of a brilliant design, pushed to its mechanical edge, a knife sharpened long after the war was already lost. Number 9. Kawanishi N1K2J Shiden-Kai, George, Japan, 441 miles per hour. When Allied pilots first met the Shiden-Kai in 1945, they mistook it for a captured Spitfire. Streamlined and deadly, it was one of the few Japanese fighters that could challenge late-war American aircraft on equal terms. Its Homare 21 radial engine produced nearly 2,000 horsepower, driving the N1K2 to 441 miles per hour in level flight. The aircraft's wide landing gear and automatic combat flaps gave it superb maneuverability at high speed, a rarity among Japanese designs. But shortages of skilled pilots and fuel kept it from influencing the outcome. Had it arrived 2 years earlier, the Shiden-Kai might have rewritten the air war over the Pacific. Number 8. Focke-Wulf FW190D-9, Germany, 426 miles per hour. The FW190D-9, nicknamed the Dora, emerged as the Luftwaffe's answer to high-altitude Allied bombers. Designer Kurt Tank replaced the radial engine of earlier models with a liquid-cooled UMO 213A, giving the long-nosed Dora both speed and altitude performance. It reached 426 miles per hour and climbed faster than the Spitfires that had once outturned its predecessors. In late 1944, squadrons of D9s guarded the Me-262 jet bases, battling American escorts over a ruined Germany. Pilots loved its roll rate and firepower, though many knew the fight was hopeless. The Dora proved that even at the end, German engineers could still build brilliance from desperation. Number 7. Hawker Tempest Mark V, Britain, 435 miles per hour. Born from the troublesome Typhoon, the Hawker Tempest turned flaws into triumph. Its thin laminar flow wing and Napier Sabre II engine gave it a blistering 435 miles per hour at low altitude, perfect for hunting Germany's V-1 flying bombs. Tempest pilots became Britain's first true jet interceptors, tipping the pilotless weapons out of the sky or blasting them apart with 20mm cannon fire. Over 800 V-1s fell to Tempests in a single summer. In air combat, its speed and stability made it one of the few Allied fighters able to chase the Focke-Wulf FW190D-9 on equal terms. Many RAF veterans would later call it the finest piston-engine fighter Britain ever produced. Number 6. Supermarine Spitfire Mark XIV, Britain, 446 miles per hour. The Spitfire that defended Britain in 1940 bore little resemblance to the brute that roared into service 4 years later. The Mk14 traded the familiar Merlin engine for a 2,050 horsepower Griffon 65, transforming the elegant interceptor into a muscular predator. At 446 miles per hour, it could climb faster than any previous Spitfire and meet the new German jets on near equal terms. Its broad four-blade propeller and enlarged tail balanced the immense torque, giving the aircraft astonishing responsiveness. Over 900 were built, intercepting reconnaissance aircraft and V-1s, and escorting bombers deep into Europe. The Mk-14 marked the Spitfire's final metamorphosis, from fragile savior to high-performance killer. Number 5. Grumman F8F Bearcat, United States, 455 miles per hour. The Bearcat was the last word in carrier-borne piston speed. Grumman's engineers started with the mighty Pratt & Whitney R2800 engine and built the smallest possible airframe around it. The result could reach 455 miles per hour and climb to 10,000 feet in 94 seconds, faster than any US Navy fighter before or since. It entered service in 1945, too late for combat, but test pilots called it the perfect piston fighter. The Bearcat's blistering acceleration later thrilled audiences with the Blue Angels and shattered time-to-climb records that stood well into the jet age. Had the war lasted a few months longer, Japan would have met a new and terrifying adversary above the Pacific. Number 4. Republic P-47M Thunderbolt, United States, 472 miles per hour. The Jug was never meant to be elegant, but the P-47M turned brute strength into speed. Engineers reworked the Thunderbolt's massive R2800 engine with new turbo superchargers and water injection, shaving weight wherever possible. The result was a 472-mile-per-hour interceptor built to chase German jets over Europe. Only 130 were produced, all flown by the famed 56th Fighter Group. Initial engine troubles grounded them, but once fixed, they became the fastest operational Thunderbolts ever built. Heavy, resilient, and deadly, the P-47M could dive faster than any other propeller aircraft of the war, a thunderous embodiment of American industrial power. Number 3. Dornier Do 335 Pfeil, Arrow, Germany, 474 miles per hour. Nothing else in the sky looked like the Dornier Do 335. Two Daimler-Benz engines sat in line, one pulling, one pushing, driving propellers at opposite ends of the fuselage. This radical push-pull design eliminated drag from wing-mounted engines, propelling the Arrow to 474 miles per hour. It was the fastest piston fighter Germany ever produced. But innovation came too late. Fewer than 40 were completed before surrender, and most never saw combat. Allied test pilots who flew captured examples after the war were astonished by its smooth handling and sheer speed. The Do 335 remains a glimpse of what might have been, the last great leap before jets rendered propellers obsolete. Number 2. Focke-Wulf FW190D-9, Germany, 472 to 475 miles per hour. As Allied bombers climbed higher, the Luftwaffe turned once again to Kurt Tank. His TA-152H stretched the FW190's wings to nearly 48 feet and added a pressurized cockpit with the UMO 213E engine. At 40,000 feet, it could exceed 470 miles per hour, outclimbing everything the Allies had. Only a handful reached frontline units in 1945. Those few impressed everyone who saw them. On April 14, 1945, Oberfeldwebel Willy Reschke fought 4 Mustangs at altitude, downing 2 before escaping, a testament to the TA-152's extraordinary performance. It was, quite literally, the Luftwaffe's final sword stroke, swung too late to change the war's end. Number 1. North American P-51H Mustang, United States, 487 miles per hour. The fastest propeller-driven fighter of the Second World War was born not from desperation, but from refinement. The P-51H took the proven Mustang design, stripped 1,500 pounds from its frame, and fitted the ultimate Packard-built Merlin V1650-09 with water injection. The result? 487 miles per hour in level flight, faster than any other piston fighter ever to see service. It climbed higher, rolled quicker, and flew farther than its predecessors, able to escort bombers to Japan and back. 555 were delivered before the war ended. None reached combat. Yet in every measurable sense, the H model represented the peak of piston technology, the point where engineers could go no faster without replacing the propeller itself. From the long-nosed Dora to the sleek Mustang, the race for speed defined an era when the world's fate was decided in the air. Each of these aircraft represents a final duel between piston power and the coming age of jet propulsion, a mechanical crescendo before silence. Every engineer, every test pilot, every factory worker who tightened a bolt or cast an engine block was part of a vast industrial symphony, chasing one more mile per hour that might change the outcome of a mission or save a life. Only 61 miles per hour separate the slowest from the fastest on this list. Yet the human cost behind those numbers is immeasurable. For every record broken, there were hundreds of aircraft lost to mechanical failure, thousands of young pilots who never saw home again. Speed was not simply a measure of power, it was the razor's edge between survival and oblivion. The war began with fighters that barely broke 300 miles per hour and ended with machines that could nearly touch 500, each a reflection of nations straining every ounce of ingenuity in the crucible of total war. In Germany, desperate engineers pushed designs to exhaustion, creating marvels that arrived too late to matter. In Britain and America, engineers refined rather than reinvented, transforming reliability into dominance. And in Japan, where resources dwindled but craftsmanship endured, aircraft like the Shiden-Kai proved that even in defeat, excellence could still take flight. By 1945, propeller fighters had reached their ultimate form, the end of a technological lineage stretching back to the fragile biplanes of the Great War. The jet age would soon eclipse them, rewriting the laws of aerial combat. But these piston legends remained the last expression of a world still ruled by sound and rhythm, the mechanical heartbeat of internal combustion at full power, echoing across the clouds. Today, a few of these aircraft still fly. Their engines start with a growl, then rise into the familiar symphony of propeller and wind. For those who hear it, that sound carries the memory of a generation that lived and died in pursuit of mastery over air and speed. The war they fought ended decades ago, but in those final years of propeller flight, humanity reached the very edge of what was possible without wings of fire. And at that summit, among thunder, smoke and glory, one aircraft stood alone. The North American P-51H Mustang, the fastest piston fighter ever built, the last king of speed before the world turned to jets.